There we go. I don't know why the mic was muted. Y'all come on in. There we go. I see y'all. There we go. There we go. I see y'all. 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 Y'all come on. Y'all come on. Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's what good followers look like. Y'all come on in. Woo. I got a pretty dope conversation, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. Let me see. I see y'all. I see y'all. I see y'all. Here we go. We about to get it tonight. Oh, we're gonna dig a little deep tonight because there's a lot of controversy going around. There's a lot of controversy, and we're gonna try and tackle as much of it as possible tonight. Uh, within the hour's tops. That's my goals. Within the hour's tops, we're gonna try and tackle as much as possible. So when you come on, y'all come on in and share. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube, and we're live on Instagram. Let me check out Instagram. Oh yeah, Instagram. We up there. If you're not following on Instagram, make sure you go follow us on Instagram at It's All Love Podcast. All right, y'all. Y'all go follow the Instagram. So for those who may not have Facebook or those who may not have YouTube, and all you know how to do is use Instagram because that's all your little Gen Z minds can figure out. Y'all go ahead and get this. Oh, y'all showing me 30 times now. But go on and go on and get on that. All right, y'all go on and get on the Instagram. All right, so we're gonna jump into this. Um, this is a series I thought of called the State of the Country. The reason why I came up with the State of the Country is because the president will do like the State of the Union address, or a mayor will do the State of the City address. I think I want to do a State of the Country address, and I wanted to really focus tonight, or particularly this conversation, and I want to make this very very clear to all those who joined and log on. If you would like to join the main stage, come on stage with me, come on the live show with me, and have this conversation. There is a link in the description. You click the link, you'll be queued backstage, and then we'll bring you on the platform to either ask questions or give feedback to whatever you hear in the conversation tonight. Feel free to put in your own comments. I will be reading the comments. I do have people watching the comments for me as well. So if I don't see something, I know I have eyes that'll make sure they catch what I didn't catch. All right, so let's do that. Number one. Okay, now let's go into it. I want to go into let me pull up my notes because I wanted to make sure I read all of this correctly and I give you correct information. Because I see a lot of us have an issue right now with diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? I think a lot of us are up in a frenzy because we feel as though our privileges or our benefits are being attacked. I think that's the best way for me to put it. I think a lot of us feel like we are under attack. A lot of us feel that there is an assassination, a systemic assassination on the minority community. But I think a lot of us have to, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I think a lot of us have to understand that there is something called the Great Replacement Theory, where they believe, and this is just paraphrasing and summarizing, where they believe that at a certain point in time, minorities would basically become the majority in America and not just the white male or woman. And the numbers go to show that we are on the brink of a major, we are on the brink of the Great Replacement Theory. And so what's happening is the I want to make sure I give this because I have all types of age groups watching. Everybody doesn't understand politics. Everybody don't understand the economy. Everybody doesn't understand the government and how it works and how it's set up. So I want to make sure that I break this down as simple as possible. But what's happening is I know a lot of us is probably going to participate in that boycott tomorrow. So let's start here. Let's start with the boycott. I did see the Al Sharpton boycott, and I seen that people were talking about boycotting Walmart and boycotting Target and boycotting Amazon Prime, and all of that stuff. But I mean, if we're gonna boycott, see, back in the day when they boycotted not for a day, but they boycotted until something was until something changed economically, right? When we go through history and we look at the civil rights movement, they boycotted until there was an actual economic movement for black people. I think that a lot of us are missing that we can boycott, we cannot spend money for a day, but we have to understand that these are corporations that serve the world. They're not just their consumers are not just Americans. Their consumers are not just black people. Their consumers are not just white people, but they have people that are international as well. You have to understand that there are over almost 9 billion people on the planet. So us minority, us 15 to 20% of black folk in America is not going to put a dent in any of these corporations' bottom line because they have too much money. They already have a high demand and they have the supply to meet that demand. So it doesn't matter how much boycotting we do, there are still billions of people around this world that want to consume and buy from Amazon and buy from Target and buy from Walmart. And I promise you, they're going to still buy from Amazon, still buy from Target, and still buy from Walmart. So we got to understand that, number one. Number two, if we're going to boycott, we have to have something to fall back on, right? Number one is we have to figure out, okay, if we're going to boycott, what are we going to invest our money into, right? We cannot just boycott and some I guess they're calling it Blackout Friday, but I heard somebody else say, why don't we call it buy black businesses out Friday, right? If we're not going to spend with Amazon, if we're not going to spend with Target, if we're not going to spend with Walmart, then why not find other African American businesses and programs to invest in? Right, so that's another thing. We have to figure out how are we building the black dollar, how are we creating wealth amongst us, how are we building community amongst us. That's number one. Number two, because of this whole great replacement theory and because of what's happening economically right now, I truly believe, this is my opinion, I truly believe that DEI does not serve a purpose in where we're going as a world. I think a lot of people are becoming more aware of what's happening in the world, not only in the world, but on the political scale, on the spiritual scale. There's a lot of people's eyes opening up to the spirit realm. They're understanding that a lot of these things that we're seeing, that they've already been prophesied and predestined by the book. Right. And I don't want to get too far into that, but a lot of us are sitting here in shock when the Bible had already told us what to prepare for. Right there, the Bible already prophesied a lot of the stuff we're dealing with. And I mean, you can't really prevent what the Bible's already prophesied, but what you can do is prepare for the famine, prepare for the battles, prepare for the season of scarcity before you get to the land of Canaan. But you gotta want that though. That's number one, right? So number two, we have to think about this, right? I was sitting here earlier today thinking about DEI, and there's a term that comes to my head when I think about DEI and I think about what's happening on a major scale. There was this term that was used by a pastor, and I can't remember his name right now, but there was a term that was used by this pastor, and the term was ethnic idolatry, right? And so a lot of us feel that DEI has literally, and I will say this before I go into that. I think everything. Some things are not meant to last forever. We have to look at the results, look at the numbers, and see what changes have been made. I do agree, and I do believe that the time that during the DEI era, it served its purpose. It opened many doors in corporate America. It opened doors in C-suite opportunities for minorities. It opened doors for business loans and grants and things of that nature. But if we really look at it, a lot of times, what's happening what's happened over the last maybe 3 to 5 years, um, the motive and the intention behind DEI has not been pure. I think that we have these practices in place, we have these initiatives in place, but they're not actually serving or combating the underlying systemic issues that it was actually designed and implemented to combat. I think that it's become more of just a term than actually a work, right? And I think that a lot of us are in a frenzy, right? Because we now we have to put in the work, right? We're realizing that we have systems and organizations and businesses that are not built properly. The infrastructure will not allow you to survive in this current political climate. And why is that? Why do we have systems and entities and organizations that can barely survive in this current political climate? Well, one of the reasons is, one, when we're looking at the work that we do, especially in the social entrepreneurial areas and in the social change and systemic change and system catalyst work and all of those different things. I think that a lot of us forgot that yes, we have to do the work, but we also have to build infrastructure to sustain the work, right? We can't be sitting here grinding every day, but and we're working on these systems, but we still that have a internal infrastructure that will not allow us to actually be sustainable and be efficient and impactful in the work or in the service or in the product that we're providing, right? And so I think that because we have not been educated around what sustaining institutions or sustaining infrastructures look like, because we we're not the JP Morgans, right? We're not the Blackstones, we're not the Open AIs, we're not the Amazons, we're not the Googles, but we still have the same economic reach. We still have the ability to tap into billion-dollar capital and create systems and businesses and communities that are thriving and surviving. And I think that we have done a very poor job of actually uniting on creating these systems. We have so many organizations and so many people that actually do a lot of the same work, and they're not trying to connect. They're not trying to interconnect. And I think that there's a term that's been used in my line of work, and it's called MIC, right? It's called multi. It stands for MIC. It stands for multi generational or multicultural, intergenerational, cross sector, right? And the reason why this concept is important is because when we look at this particular concept, it still includes the intention of DEI, but it broadens it to where it's not dictated upon color, it's not dictated upon race. It's literally multicultural. That means every background, every race, intergenerational, all ages. And the reason why I believe we have done a very poor job, and I will say this, as and I will kind of give a bone to the elders right quick, or to the senior people. We have to do better in passing down information. I think we have so many. I think this generation is it's beyond talented. Um, but there is a deficiency in information. There's not a transfer taking place, right? There's a lot of people preaching legacy and preaching change, but they're not actually passing that. There's not a transferring of information, of skill, of ability, and opportunity and platform. And so what we're doing is we're handicapping a lot of our young people, and I'm just speaking from my experience, right? There's a restriction or a limitation that you put on the younger generation when you do not provide or give them the necessary tools and resources to be effective and to be a contributor to society. And so when we have a lack of information being given, right? Because I'm not saying all of us, that there's some very well educated African American men, African American women, BIPOC men and women. There are some very, very intelligent, very wealthy, very smart, very influential people. But what are we doing, right, to create a community that builds us, right? And I think that we have to do better. Number one, for those who have made the six figures, who have made the seven, right, to start passing down that information. We are in the era of transfer, right? Money, wealth, policy, politics, government. There is a transfer taking place, and there is a switching taking place. And so we have to be more in tune with the shift. right? There's a lot of us missing the shift because we refuse to, we're selfish with information. We don't want nobody to be better than us. We don't want nobody to outdo us. We don't want nobody to outsmart us, out make more money than us, outlive us. But you got to really understand it's not about who's outdoing who. If you have that competitive mentality, then you already then lost the battle. You shouldn't even got up and start fighting. If you got up in competition, you should have stayed down in competition. You shouldn't even got up. Why? Because you already was getting up with the wrong spirit and the wrong intention, and you already was gonna and sooner than later you were gonna cause strife, you were gonna cause division, you're gonna cause separation, and that's a lot of what's taking place. A lot of people, the reason why we cannot build community because we're literally in this mentality of competing and comparing. Well, they got this and they got that, and I want to do it like this and I want to do it like that. But I mean, it's not gonna always work for you the way it worked for them. But what piece can you provide so that we can get the full picture, right? Because if we all got the same piece, then we'll never get the full picture. And this is why it's important to understand what your lane is, what your assignment is, so you can work that. Because I promise you, what you do in with your life is going to create the full picture of why we were all here in the first place. I promise you. But back to the DEI, and saying I want to stay focused on that because I can get sidetracked, but I want to stay focused on this. Right? There is we've used it. It's worked. It's benefited us. It's opened doors. It's created pathways, career, college. But there is a great shock, right? And they call it the chaos theory. But there's a great shock because I truly believe that um, a lot of us are upset because we won't get the DEI perks anymore, right? Given some of the work that I do and the people I've been around, I know what perks come with DEI. I know about the luxury boxes at NBA games. I know about the field goal, field side seats to the Super Bowl game. Um, I know about, the first class privileges every blue moon, if you know how to work it right. I know about the upgrades, the room upgrades. I know about the perks that come with DEI. And a lot of us are upset because we are getting ready to lose the perks that came with DEI. It's not so much DEI, it's what DEI did for you and how it made you more selfish and how it made you more arrogant and how it made you more prideful. And so now that you're not able to walk in that air, there's a frustration that you have and a bitterness that you have that had already, there's a bitterness in you that you already had, but DEI and the perks and the benefits of DEI fed the void in your life. And now that it's being pulled back, now we realize what's really going on. Now we really know that you're not happy with yourself. It's not the government. It's not Trump. It's you. It's you not being able to look in the mirror saying, I love me. I support me. I got me. I respect me. But instead, we have a mind and we've created a culture, a dependency culture. That's what it is. It's a dependency culture. And that we have become so dependent that we have not learned how to monopolize the system where we can still progress and build legitly and righteously. For all my church folk that's on here, for those that think I might be talking crazy, there is a way, there is a legal way to monopolize the system for you. I mean, let me just say this: it's a loophole for a reason. Now, your intention when you jumping through it, that's on you, but it's a loophole for a reason. They've created the system. Is not a machine, right? The system is not some button you push. The system is people that have vision that then write that vision down on paper, and then they surround themselves around allies that will allow them to turn this vision into reality. Right? That's what the systems are. That's what these systems are. It's people's internal thinking, people's internal ways of processing and comprehending. It's people's own psyche that's creating these systems of oppression, these systems of suppression, these systems of division. It's not a machine. It's a person that's implementing these laws and policies that create a dependency culture, a divided culture, a competitive, comparing culture, right? A insecure culture, a depressed culture, right? These are systems. When you look at it, pornography was designed by somebody who was perverted enough to say, I want to watch it and I want somebody to watch it with me too. Right? So it's not a button. It all started in the mind. It all started in the mind. It all started in vision. It all started birth. It was all in the thought pattern, right? And so this is why it's important that we do check our thought patterns, because our thought patterns are very, very important. And you'll find yourself making decisions that you shouldn't have made because you did not learn how to take control over your mind. That's why the Bible says that we have to be renewed. That our mind has to be renewed every day. We have to take off this mind, because we will continue to perpetuate these systems of division. We will continue to perpetuate these systems of confusion and strife and hatred, all because we're not dealing with the traumas and the troubles of our own minds. And so this is what we're putting out into the world: the confusion of people's personal lives, the frustrations of people's personal lives, what people believe, right? What do you think civil rights are? What are civil rights? It's somebody who said, I don't like this, and I think that these people, if this was to ever happen to me again, whoever crosses this line should be punished. Right? What is a civil right? Right? What is a civil right? If I said every human should have a right to 30 feet of space, and any human that violates that 30 feet of space should then have to face, right, 2 to 3 years in prison. Right, that is a civil, that's what you want to consider your own personal right. So what are rights? What are laws? Anything up here. Anything up here is what dictates and creates and writes the laws that we have. And so that's why it's very important who you surround yourself around, right? It's very, very important who you have conversations with, because you have to be very, very mindful of who's planting information in your ground, in your mind, in your ground. Same thing. You have to understand that, because there are people who come to plant seeds of division that you might not even know were planted until 3 years later, when you seem to can't keep a relationship together. All right, let me not get too deep into that either. But these are things that are happening. These are things that are coming up, and I think that as Black people and as people in general, I think it's very, very much so bigger than color. A lot of us have been blinded by color. A lot of us were mad at the fact that Donald Trump said that we should be a colorblind nation. I mean, why are we mad about that? Right? Why are we upset about that? If we've been fighting to be seen, the man said we're gonna create a colorblind culture, and you have a problem with that. That's ignorance. That's retarded. That's I don't want to get banned or blocked, but I can't say it how I want to say it, but that's stupid. The fact that we've been crying and preaching and complaining and protesting and working for such a level playing field. We've been fighting for a level playing field. And this is what Donald Trump is creating. He is creating a level playing field. If you look at what happened, one of the reasons why Kamala Harris lost, and I'm gonna mess some of y'all up right here, because some of y'all not gonna like me after this, but it's okay. One of the reasons why Kamala Harris lost was because, and it was not because of race, it was because of money, right? A lot of people believe that Kamala Harris did not know how money actually worked. They did not trust her on the economy. They did not trust her when it came to workforce development. They did not trust her when it came to the stock market and investment and how do we keep corporations here, right? How do we create revenue and jobs here? And so a lot of people, we allow the media propaganda, and you have to understand that the media is owned by a person. Right, these systems, these media systems are owned by the mind of somebody. Somebody wants you to believe in their mind. They're transferring from their mind this division to your screen, so that your screen can then transfer this division to your mind. That's what they're doing. That's all they're doing. It's somebody's mind, somebody else's vision saying, we don't want them to see the full picture. So we're only going to show them this much. So when they reach their eyes, their mind can only process so much. Right? And so we have to be very, very mindful. So one of the reasons why she lost, we allowed the media to tell us, because we're sexist, like a woman can't run the country. I have no doubts that a woman can run the country. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. What I do doubt is the fact that we got to keep putting black on everything. Right? I just have an issue with that. I really, really do. I really think that we have to really understand what's really taking place, what the changing tide, right? And so what happened is, the reason why she lost was not because of her color. It wasn't because of her gender. It was simply because she did not reach that economic pillar of what people were expecting from her. Right? I think a lot of people. And then I got a little treat for y'all. I want to break down this Jamal Bryant sermon as well before I get off of here. So y'all stay tuned because we're gonna watch a clip of Jamal Bryant's sermon before we hop off of here. All right. But I want you to understand that she lost because she did not win the people over on the economy. If you look at what happened as soon as Donald Trump won, one of the first things that happened was there was a spring in the stock market. I think it went up over 100 something points, right? What does that tell? And then what you got to think about is during the election, there were over, I think the number is 60 to 65 million people were in America were invested or had money invested into cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, right? They had money invested in the digital currency. Trump understood digital currency. He knew how to reach the people of digital currency, and that was a growing market. People don't understand what fintech is. What is fintech? Fintech is finance and technology put together. It's Cash App. That's fintech. Zelle. That's fintech. Your mobile banking app. That's fintech. That's financial technology that allows you to move money digitally. When you transfer money from your savings account to your checking account, or when you're moving money from one account to another account, most times you're not taking cash out of an account, putting cash to another account. You can wire that money. That is a digital transfer. So a lot of people don't even realize it's not about, you already are operating on the digital. You already on the chip. You have to realize that you already have been chipped. You already have been marked. You already have been. It ain't nothing new. They already got you. That's why. Where do you think your social security number is? That's your identification. All right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I want your name. Yeah, Romero Wesson. No, but what's your SSN? Let me find you in the ticket. Because if I pull up your social security number, I can find out anything about you. So you already been digitized. You already got the imprint. You might not have a chip in your hand. You might not have any of that, but you have already been marked for the digital currency ship. And so a lot of people understood where their money was invested prior to the election, which then allowed for Donald Trump to take that win. But back to DEI, right? Back to DEI. And we're about to watch this Jamal Bryant sermon, and then we're going to hop off of here because a lot of people, the news outlet said that they called Jamal Bryant a racist, y'all. They called Jamal Bryant a racist, and I was laughing so hard because it was just funny to me that they called him a racist. But yeah, they called Dr. Jamal Bryant a racist. And so wrapping up this DI conversation. So then, also understanding this, we have to be mindful as a community that we do not burn bridges with our own people because of differences, right? Different views, different perspectives, just different, right? And so I think that it's very important that we do not become so gullible to what we've seen or what we do see on the media. I think that it's very important that we do not become so gullible, to every meme, every picture, every photo, every post. Some of us, we just believe everything we see, right? We know we got to be very, very mindful that we do not allow ourselves to burn bridges, break relationships with people that we're definitely going to need in the near future because of a current disagreement, or because we don't agree on, presidents or congressmen or women, right? And so I think it's very important that we really be mindful about that. Then going into this next piece, as I prep um, for Jamal Bryant's sermon, I also want to talk about how a lot of us really are double. We just, can I use that word? I think I can use that word. We don't know what we want to do. Some of us, we just go with what people say. We just go with, everybody. We just go with this with everything. And I just think that a lot of us are not standing for the truth, but because of what it comes with. I think persecution is attached to the truth, right? People who bear the truth, people who carry the truth, people who live the truth. Uh, Definitely persecution, attack, assassination targets are placed on the backs of people who possess the truth. And I think that it's very important that if you do not have a target on your back, then you might need to check your truth. Okay, let's just start. Can we just say that? If you don't have a target on your back, I think it's very important that we check what truth are we operating in, because the true truth will have a target on your back, but it's the weapons that will form, but they won't prosper. Yeah, you got a target, but there's weapons that do form that won't prosper. One more time. Yes, there's a target on your back. You're doing everything you're supposed to do, but these are weapons that will form. You'll see the gun, you'll see the knives, you'll see the hatred, you'll see the backlash, you'll see the slander, you'll see the lies, you'll see all of the weapons that they form against you. The bad meals, they poison your food. You'll see all of that. You'll see it planning and prepping and brewing, but it won't work. In Jesus' name. All right, we're gonna go into this Jamal Bryant video. Let me pull it up for y'all. And then I want to make sure I pull it up right. Now, I had the video prepped, y'all. Now, this is what's going to make me upset. I had the video prepped, but it won't even play. That's crazy work. Okay. I mean, I had the video prepped and everything, y'all. I just let me see if I can try it again, I guess. I'm so sorry, y'all. This was not planned. I mean, I just tried everything one more time before I got on here. That would just be mad. I guess I'm going to have to do it another way. And I ain't going to do it that way. But I want to hear what Jamal got to say. And we just going to react to this video, even though my guy is reacting to it. Give me 1 second, y'all. I figured it out. We just going to do it like this. We just going to do it like this, y'all. It's all right. I had made a whole video and everything. But hey, technology going to do its thing, ain't it? It's going to do what it want to do. All right.
In the White House who are in there tap dancing for Massa, wearing bow ties, shinning and grinding, laughing like nothing is funny.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Pastor Jamal Bryant attacking Black conservatives who went to the White House, went to his church,
We're
and
gonna speed it up, y'all. Hold on, give me a second.
in the pulpit.
You got 4 years to find Jesus and get saved for real.
That right there.
So for those that don't know, just to give you more context, Donald Trump held he had a Black History Month reception at the White House, and a group of Black conservatives, and the next conversation next week is going to be the Black conservative versus the Black liberal, and I have some guests coming on for that next Thursday at 7:00, so stay tuned for that. But he says here, so I want y'all to hear this. So he basically, Black conservatives go to the White House for the Black History celebration, and here are some of the things that was being said about Jamal Bryant, because there's a group of people that brought blow up head Jamal Bryant photos to the thing, and so let's just go ahead and look at some of this right quick, y'all.
Who's recording? You're gonna hear his.
Jamal!
Is that you, Jamal?
Is that you, Jamal?
Come on, Jamal. Jamal, you got 4 years.
Is that you, Jamal?
You got 4 years to find Jesus and get saved for real. Get saved for real, Jamal. Take that double dip. Take that double dip. Find Jesus for real, Jamal. Right.
Find Jesus, Jamal.
Find Jesus for real, Jamal.
That's the video right there. That's why he's upset. Now, if you ask me, I think the reason why the little picture, I don't know how they got that. It's a cardboard cutout. I don't know what that is, but maybe the reason why it's there is because he has attacked us before. He doesn't like Black conservatives. He doesn't like what we got going on. So maybe that's what that was as far as the picture. All right. Now let's keep on moving here. This is his response. All right. And I will link to this and that video in the box. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Praying for me all week. You've been nervous all week, but I ain't afraid of the spooks that sat at the door. These runaway slaves.
Now, in this speech, in this sermon, he's going to say quite a few things that are incorrect. Shout out to Maj Toure. I was watching your video about this, and you correctly mentioned, about the spook who sat by the door. This is a good person, somebody who was able to get inside knowledge from the CIA and then bring it back to the hood and teach them how to go about doing certain things, counterterrorism, just educating people with what he gained from them. Okay. So he's going to say a lot of things here that are just not right. But unfortunately, in the community, we've kind of normalized being incorrect as being okay.
He's hiding in the White House, gonna throw my picture up thinking that I'm gonna be afraid. If you got real courage, don't show my picture. Show the picture of the one that fired the Black Joint Chief of Staff from the military.
Now, he's speaking about Trump firing the Black Joint Chief of Staff, but Trump was the one who hired him. Talk about that part. That's funny how they just always give you a piece of it without the full thing. That's lying by omission. But I don't think Jamal Bryant even knew that. This is an ignorant person. And at one point in the Black community, I'm gonna preach a little bit here, so please pardon me. At one point in the Black community, the preacher was the only one who knew how to read. He was the only literate one. So we depended upon this man for a lot of what we did in our everyday lives. Some people still depend on him to teach them everything. The problem is that these guys don't know anything. These guys are uneducated themselves.
If you're going to show a picture of the CEO of Target, Walmart, McDonald's, and Amazon that does not recognize Black dollars or Black business.
Now he's talking about DEI initiatives. Newsflash, Jamal Bryant, DEI is not for us. DEI is for them, meaning the LGBTs and really white people. It's not for Black people. So why are you going so hard to protect whites and LGBTs? I don't understand. I thought you were the pro-Black pastor. If so, I can't tell.
If you're going to put up a picture of the state legislators in Florida that are banning Black books. If you're going to put up a...
Banning Black books? No, we're talking about we are bringing forward true Black history that is not inundated with LGBTQ propaganda. Again, why are you going so hard for the LGBTs? I think it's because you're ignorant and you've allowed them to brainwash you into believing that their causes and their narratives are going to help you. Maybe they help you financially as Jamal Bryant, but they're not going to help the masses of us as Black people.
So let me say this, because I think a lot of us fail to realize that a lot of our pastors, some of our favorite ones, are bought and paid for by these politicians. And this is another reason why they're pushing some of these agendas that are anti-Christ. They're pushing anti-Christ agendas because they line their pockets. I don't know if some of y'all don't know about the white bishop, that basically the one that rebuked Donald Trump at the service, right? Basically told him that he need to let the immigrants stay, and he needs to stop attacking transgenders and gays. But did y'all know that same bishop, let me hold on, because y'all don't believe me. Y'all don't believe me. That same bishop is the same woman. She made over $53 million in human trafficking. She was trafficking immigrants and housing immigrants in the church, outside the church, and trafficking them from other countries. And she made over $53 million in basically human trafficking. And she has the nerve. Now, I'm not saying that, I agree with everything Trump does. But what I'm saying is what these people are fighting for, they're only fighting for it because they're paid to fight for it. It's sustained. It buys them luxuries. It buys them amenities. It buys them perks. It buys them access. It buys them influence. It buys them revenue. It buys them properties. It buys them whatever they want. All if they continue to push the anti-Christ agenda. That's the bigger picture, is the fact that you have to realize that these people are pushing a anti-Christ agenda. For example, Jamal Bryant gets up there and he's preaching this sermon, and in the middle of this sermon, he has the nerve to attack Black conservatives while he's protecting and preaching and advocating for anti-Christ agendas. He had that man, Amos Brown, Reverend Amos Brown from San Francisco, California, and I believe Kamala Harris is a member of that church. I think she's a faithful tithe paying member as well. And that man got up there and he prayed, and people was okay with him saying that it's okay to be gay and godly. No, it's not okay to be gay and godly. Why are we pushing that in the pulpit? Right? Why are we okay with talk like that in the pulpit? There is no such thing as gay and godly. There's no such thing as high and godly. There's no such thing as drunk and godly. There's no such thing as sexually perverted and godly. There's no such thing. That God don't mix with anything that's anti-him. It just doesn't work that way. And and what's really happening is the antichrist agenda is trying to mix the truth and is perverting it with these false realities and these false ideas, and people are embodying these false doctrines only because of what's broken in them. There's a search in them, there's a seek in them, but they don't know where to look. But there's so many voices out here. There's so many things going on. And so what's happening, we have to be very, very, very mindful, right? But these people, these preachers, politicians, you got to think about it. If you don't know, most of our Congress people are lesbians, homosexuals, trannies. If you don't know, most of the people that write our laws, they're in same-sex marriages. So what do you expect? What do you really expect if we continue to elect these people who live these lifestyles, and then we're mad about what's being pushed in our schools? Well, you elected these people to govern and to suggest what's in their mind for you. But you see that their lifestyle doesn't even align with your beliefs, but yet you'll elect them. Yet you elect them to govern, knowing you don't agree with anything that they do on the outward. So if you don't agree with nothing on the outward appearance, what makes you think you agree with anything that's inside of them? I think that's just common sense. And I think that that's why a lot of us, or a lot of people, have segued into, a more conservative way of thinking, a more Republican way of thinking. Not saying that I'm a Republican or anything like that, but I think that people realize the nature of common sense, the importance of being able to know that you see what you see, you hear what you hear, right? And then you have to make the connections. You have to figure out what connects. People may call you a conspiracy theorist. People call me a conspiracy theorist all the time. I wake up the phone to text messages all the time about, well, look what your president is doing. Well, what is he doing? I mean, he's dismantling the systems of oppression. A lot of us were mad at the Department of Education because of what the Department of Education was teaching. The Department of Education has this law where it's no child left behind, right? But what does that do? How does that cripple our education system when we have a law that was provided by people that believe that we cannot leave no child behind, right? But look at what's happening. We got 20 and 25 and 30-year-olds who can't even read at an adult level. They're still stuck at a third to sixth grade reading level, all because of no child left behind. So do you think that this is what DEI is supposed to do? Do you think that this is what DEI is supposed to be pushing? The fact that we just push you through because of your color, because of your identity, because of your race, you just get this. No, if there's nobody teaching you, then how do you survive? And so we're looking at what's happening. We have all of these people in these great positions, but they don't know how to manage them. They don't know how to sustain them. They're not building properly. They're not doing it right. And so what are we doing, right? What are we doing here? And so this is why you have to really ask yourself, what am I following? What am I in agreement with? Like, am I standing for a culture of change and equity and inclusivity, right? But what I mean by that is you can be whatever you want to be. That's number one. Let's say this. You can be whatever you want to be, but you're gonna have to answer to God. That's the number one thing. That's one of the reasons why I called this show It's All Love, because everything that I'm saying to you, it's literally in love. I'm not trying to persuade you. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm not trying to make you believe anything other than what I know the truth is. And the truth is you can be whatever you want to be, but you're going to have to answer to God about it. You might not have to answer to the courts here. You might not have to answer to, the police here. But you're gonna have to answer to God about what you chose to do with yourself, because He already has given you an identity. And you're gonna have to answer to God because, watch this, because what you're basically saying to God is, you made a mistake. You didn't do it right. You missed a spot. And so you say, this is who I am. But you don't know who you are. And anything that look confused, but out of his mouth saying, I know what I am, run. Run. If it look confused, it's confused. Okay? Even if you still have to approach it with caution, because you don't want that stupid to rub off on you. It will. You got to be very, very careful, because it will rub off on you. And if you allow it to rub off on you, then you'll find yourself questioning and second guessing what you know the truth is. And that's why it's very, 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 very important who you have around you in these next 5 to 10 years of your life, because this next era, this next decade, I feel something happening right here. This next decade that we're going into, that starting from 25 going to this next 10 years, I promise you it's going to be a major financial shift, a major wealth shift, It's gonna be major shift on every level, on every aspect in every industry. And it's not because of color, and it's not because of race, and it's not because of sex, but it's because of those who stayed faithful and endured everything that we have gone through, every trial and tribulation. They everything that you went through is going to set you up for the next decade if you allow it to. That's only if you let it. If you understand why you went through what you went through, if you gather the wisdom from the past, the next 10 years will be a graceful 10 years for you. I promise you. But on the political scale, we got to be very, very mindful that these governments that we follow, that we are under, there's nothing new under the sun. A lot of the stuff that they're pushing, a lot of the agendas, laws, legislation, a lot of it, it's already been planned 100 years ago, 50 to 100 years ago, right? You think AI is new? No, AI is not new. It's been a thing. It was going to happen. It was bound to happen. It was bound to happen. These are things that have to happen. You can't get away from it. You can't get around it. It's already been in the works. Robots. It's already been in the works. They just released a flying car like a month ago. I forgot the guy's name that made it or manufactured it, but they have created one of the first official flying cars. It doesn't have any wings. It's a car and it flies. I'm gonna have to show you. Hold on. Let me show y'all. Y'all think I'm playing with y'all? Let me show you, because I'm not playing with you. This is recent work. They already have a flying car. Let me show you. Let me show you the flying car, y'all. I'm about to show y'all right now. Here we go. And the prototype is already selling for almost $300,000 to $400,000. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me pull it up for y'all. Hold on. Here we go. Look at this crazy work. Look at this crazy work. And watch this. And this is not even this is a prototype, but it's also one of the official versions of the car, right? So we have to be very, very mindful that times are changing. Like the Jeffersons, all of this stuff is coming to reality. It's no longer just a movie. iRobot, like people thought you was a conspiracy theorist, but look at what's happening. Look at what's happening. A lot of us don't realize that they're advancing technology for a reason, because there is a cyber attack on the way. There will be a major cyber attack where TVs, cell phones, banks, it's going to be a major crash. It's coming. Y'all thought the crash of '08 was something, but this next one, because of how much technology has advanced and because of how much reliance is on technology, because how much we rely on technology to communicate, to learn, to work, to whatever, however we use it, right? There's so much reliance on technology that when this next cyber attack comes, it's gonna be a major part. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be pandemonium. I don't even want to see it, but I can feel that if we don't prepare now, and this is why it's important that we build the infrastructures that sustain now. Stop arguing. Stop competing. Stop worrying about who doing this, who doing that. Do your part. I promise you, do your part, because your part is a piece to the bigger picture. If we're trying to build it, if we're trying to build a economy that will sustain for the next 100 years, we got to put the work in now. We got to start collaborating now. We got to start joining hands and partnering now. Even if you don't have $1,000, even if you don't have $1 million, even if you don't have 10 million, you take a few dollars and start putting that to the side. You are now building a system that will sustain. You need to have a cushion. You have to have a reserve. You got to have something to fall on. If you don't have nothing to fall on, then you're going to be just falling. Okay? So that's important. That's important when we look at that. So economically, things are shifting, right? A lot of us have to think more conservatively, and we have to think more capitalistically, right? It's okay to be a capitalist. We live in a capitalistic society, right? Either you consuming or you making the money. You got to pick one. You got to pick which side you're gonna be on. Either you're gonna be a consumer all your life, or you're gonna start providing a product or a service for the rest of your life, right? And just because you start a business don't mean it's gonna succeed, right? I think that we have to think about that, right? Next thing is, that was that. I want to touch on that. The other thing was this. I have one more piece, and I was done after that. The next piece was this. Be very mindful of, I want you to pay attention to, over the next couple of weeks, months, or probably the next couple of, maybe the next 2 years, pay attention to the changes in the music industry, and the entertainment industry as a whole. I want you to pay attention to how the industry will become more digitized. Pay attention to the shift of AI, right? For those who don't know, even though down in LA and Hollywood, the actors were protesting because Hollywood wanted to start creating AI generated versions of the actors, so that the actors wouldn't have to pay we wouldn't have to pay the actors anymore. So that already goes to show you that they already want to implement a copied, duplicated version of you into the real world, so that they don't need you, because the duplicated version of you is going to do what it tells it to do. It's going to create a very efficient world, right, and control. So be very, very mindful of those shifts. Pay attention to financial shifts. Pay attention to acquisitions, right? You got to see who's buying who's selling to who, right? Pay attention to you when you look at the stock market. You want to pay attention to feedback, right? What is the public view of these corporations, right? That determines stock prices, whether the price will go up or go down, right? That's one of the things that determines. That's not everything, but that's one of the things, right? Public perspective, public perception. What pieces are happening at the management level, right? What kind of intelligence is being shifted? What are the chess moves being played at the management level, at the C-suite level, right? When you see what changes are being made at that level, you can then start to process those moves and create or analyze or create a idea, right, of where that organization or where that company is going, based on who they're bringing in, what the moving parts are, things of that nature, right? It was something else. It was that. And then also I wanted to add one more thing. The last thing was I think that was it, actually. I think I did everything I wanted to do today. I think I hit every little topic I wanted to hit tonight. I see y'all jumping on. I see y'all. I really be wanting to say stuff like, hey y'all, but it's too much sometimes. It's too much. I can't keep up with all of the haze. So that was that. Uh, I think that was everything. So yeah, that was that. So I really wanted to just touch on that, the whole DEI situation, and how it has not benefited us as a community. For those who have done the research, you do realize that we have only been about, a small percentage of beneficiaries of DEI initiatives and programs, or DEI monies, grants, loans, startup funds. We have not been. Um, we were not the selected ones. I just put it like that. We weren't the selected ones. I think that now we're realize some of us are realizing that, some of us are still trying to figure out why we not the selected ones, but a lot of us realize we are not the ones that it was focused on, but we do realize that we still have the same access and opportunities to win and to succeed, and we're going to take it regardless. And so that was that. That was the show. I think I talked about everything I want to talk about. I did want to say this. I did want to say this because I don't want to be so political, or I don't want to be so that I don't operate in my gift as well. So as I was preparing for, um, this tonight, uh, I kept hearing, oneness, 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 understanding the power of oneness. I think that once we tap back into the knowledge of what one means, there's only one way to God. There's only one Lord, one faith, and one baptism. What is one, right? And I think let's do something right quick. Let's get the definition of one. Is it okay? I know it's a number, but I'm sure it has to have a definition. Um, I'm sure it has to have one, being a single unit or thing. Being one in particular, being the same in kind or in quality. Okay? And then I think that was it. Yep, that was it. I like that. Being single or in one unit, being in one in particular. Now let's look up oneness. The quality or state or fact of being one, right? So there is a oneness in God that it's a place called oneness. Does that make sense? I just want to make sure that makes sense to y'all. There's a place called oneness. There's a movement, and it's called oneness. There's a flow. It's called oneness. Even when you look at the rivers and the oceans, the currents, they flow at a certain pace. They're moving in oneness. Uh, you look at a class of birds when they're flying or they're migrating. They're moving in oneness. They all understand that we have to move from this place, hallelujah, to another place because there's a storm coming. Uh, and so they prepare by migrating, by shifting to another place in oneness. And I think that we have to understand that when we all get on one accord, when we all get in one mind, there is inevitable miracles. I mean, it has to happen. There's no way it cannot happen when we're not operating in oneness. If the witches and the warlocks can get together in oneness and create spells and create curses that are effective and that work and that do damage, what do you think we could do if we got on one accord? What do you think we could do? What kind of spells could we break if we got on one accord? How could we destroy the spirit of division if we all got on one accord? I just think that there's a big shift into oneness, and a lot of us is going to miss the oneness shift because we're so divided. We're so in us. We're so in what we want and what we think that you're gonna miss the one move. Whew, I felt something. I felt like a little wind come through right there. But there's a oneness move, and I feel that. I feel that with everything that's going on in the government, in corporations, there's a major shift because there's a remnant that's about to rise up in oneness. There's about to be a birthing of what apostolic actually what the I'm gonna put it like this. I seen it this morning. I was like the apostolic doctrine, which is movement, which is kingdom movement, right? It's getting ready to be made visible to the natural eye. Demonstration follows oneness, and because there's an apostolic birthing and an apostolic roar and an apostolic sound, you're gonna birth demonstration, and you're gonna have to move in oneness. Oneness follows the apostolic, and demonstration follows that as well. So signs and wonders shall follow them that believe. Right. So if you believe in this movement, if you believe in this revival that's taking place, if you jumping on this train that's moving up yonder, you getting in that one move, you shall see demonstration. You shall see demonstration. So I think that was I knew it was something else. I did not want to get off of here, and I did not give that part that what God had gave me to give tonight. So that was that oneness. All right. Now, how does that look? What does that look like in your life, though? Right. What does that look like in your life? Anybody or anything that ain't getting on board, you just gotta love you, but you gotta, because we don't need you slowing the move down. We don't need you perverting the move. We don't need you handicapping the move. I want to be able to move. So oneness. That was that. I think that was everything. Thank y'all for tuning in on Facebook. Thank y'all for tuning in on Instagram. I see y'all on IG. Y'all got on there fast tonight. I see y'all. So thanks for tuning in on IG. Thanks for tuning in. I really, really appreciate all of y'all. We'll be back next Thursday. And we're gonna have a panel discussion. I have some people that are considered what we call Black conservatives, Black liberals, as we continue this State of the Country series. And then as we progress, conversations will then shift and change, and we don't know where to go. But I do want you to tune in next week for that conversation. If you would like to be a part of that conversation, please send us a message either to our Facebook or our Instagram at It's All Love Podcast. And so you can send a message requesting to be on the show. If you have a story you want to share, a testimony you want to share, whatever it may be, that's what this platform is for. It's not just for, policy. It's not just for, what's happening, current events, but it's definitely also for how are we growing and cultivating. That's why it's originally called Cultivating Conversations. A lot of people don't know that's what the show is actually called. Cultivating Conversations. We have conversations that stimulate, cultivate, and sometimes infiltrate. Right, we're trying to get in there. We want to break through some of those barriers and those walls that have caused you to live blindly to the truth. So that's why we have these conversations. But remember that next Thursday, if you want to be on the show, you can. You can always log on to be on the main stage at any given point in time. There's always going to be a hyperlink in the description that you can click to get on the show. Other than that, that was that. So be encouraged, y'all. I pray a special blessing in prayer for all of those who tuned in and will catch the replay, that this information will open the eyes of those who have had questions, those who needed more clarity, those who needed more understanding. And I pray that you will continue to bridge the gaps amongst families, amongst friendships, that you will heal broken families, broken relationships, that you will repair the breach amongst the people of God. In Jesus' name, amen. Boom. See y'all to the next time. Other than that, stay safe and remember that it's not hate. It's all love. It's all love.